Well, I finally did it. I went to a Trump rally. I saw President Donald J. Trump in person. I have to say, it's a strange feeling. Seeing the guy from all the memes and all the headlines standing there in the room with you. It's like, wait, he's actually a real person. He's not just a character on TV. It was surreal. He looked like CGI, like someone had photoshopped him into real life. It was like seeing Homer Simpson walking around. But the best part was the end, when YMCA started blasting, and he did the little dance. He actually did the little Trump dance. I was so happy. What was the ideological takeaway? What did I learn about politics? If you've never been to one of these things, you should know that the lines are long. We were standing in line for like 2 hours. That gave me a lot of time to observe the riffraff. And let me tell you, it was a rough crowd. I mean rough. There was a lot of morbid obesity, there were a lot of cigarettes, there were a lot of botched plastic surgeries. And worst of all, there were a lot of trashy t-shirts, displaying vulgarity and incredibly cringy Facebook tier humor. They are Walmart people. Trump supporters IRL aren't intellectuals who read Plato and Julius Evola. They're actually kind of trashy. I know this comes off as incredibly elitist, but if you weigh 400 pounds and you show up to a rally wearing a dirty tank top that says, "Trump that bitch" or "F Biden" or something, I'm gonna assume you're not exactly sophisticated. And it got me thinking, this is the problem with populism. Obviously, politicians have to be popular. They need the vox populi on their side. And Trump is enormously successful at that.
Do you want to go back to them or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Trump.
5,000 people showed up to this rally in a random dingy little town. But to get those crowds, Trump has to be a populist. He has to appeal to the unwashed, uneducated, ugly masses. I believe politics should be an occupation of the upper classes. I do. I am unapologetically elitist. I believe our government should be run by highly intelligent, highly capable people. The founding fathers believed this too, by the way. They believed there was a natural aristocracy. They wanted America to be run by a selective elite. They were very worried about demagogues, politicians who use emotion to appeal to the irrational masses. Good thing we don't have any of that. Early American politicians were incredibly well educated. They knew the classics and history and philosophy better than any of us. These guys knew like 4 languages on average. Go back and read their essays. They're citing Seneca and Aristotle. They're making complex historical arguments. Can you imagine Trump or Kamala doing that? So yeah, politics should be classy. Rallies should be held in vineyards. Politicians shouldn't be demagogues trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator. They should be highly educated, capable people appealing to professors and doctors and lawyers. At the rally I went to, it felt like he was talking to a crowd of preschoolers. China bad, China very bad, Kamala Harris bad. Looking around the crowd, you'd think it was a meeting of meth heads for Trump. There was this one drunk girl in the stands in a cowboy hat just being a total prostitute, doing the most provocative dance. Then the old guy next to me started filming her, so if that's not classy, I don't know what is. We need an elite of academics and scholars. Back in the 1800s, the landed gentry weren't greedy corporate materialists, they weren't merchants. They were men of true class. Young aristocrats were taught music and poetry and literature. They were raised to appreciate beauty. They spent their days reading the classics and riding horses in their forested estates. Aristocrats were held to high moral standards of manners and conduct. Go back and read George Washington's Rules of Civility. Aristocrats were trained to be considerate and polite in every situation, to respect custom and tradition, and to put others first. The Enlightenment revolutionaries decided they were going to overthrow the aristocracy, because the people should rule themselves. We shouldn't be ruled by a rich elite. Well, now we have a much worse rich elite. Now, instead of being driven by virtue and honor, the elite is driven by money. But hey, at least they're elected. At least we put it to a vote. Great job, guys. Phenomenal work as always. It's become very fashionable to talk about democratizing the government, making it more accountable to the people. From making voting easier to making the Electoral College purely symbolic to imposing term limits for Supreme Court justices, there's a sentiment on the left and the right that our government should be run by the popular vote, and representatives should just be vessels for that collective will. That wasn't the original vision. Until the early 1900s, there were no presidential primaries. Political parties didn't choose their candidates by popular vote. Instead, the party aristocrats would meet behind closed doors in smoke-filled rooms and choose the candidate they liked best. The progressives thought this was very shady and corrupt, so they replaced the smoke-filled rooms with primaries. Well, joke's on you, that actually made the system more corrupt. At least in the smoke-filled rooms, the intelligent, capable politicians could talk face-to-face without worrying about public opinion. Now, candidates are chosen by popular vote, so they have to run campaigns. And guess who funds those campaigns? Billionaires, lobbyists, special interest groups. Democracy is oligarchy. When I went to that Trump rally and saw the meth heads for Trump and the Walmart Republicans and that girl dancing like a prostitute in the stands, it clicked. These people should not be in politics. George Bush and the Patriot Act and the wars in the Middle East had tremendous popular support because the masses were angry about 9/11. With Trump, his most populist policies are his worst policies. Drill, baby, drill! Make those big city liberal Starbucks drinking environmentalists cry. That rhetoric appeals to the unwashed masses. If he was talking to an audience of scholars and theologians, it wouldn't fly because intelligent people appreciate beauty. Intelligent people support nuclear power.
I got that bug and I can't sleep. Uranium fever has gone and got me down. Uranium fever is spreading all around.
Trump could be the guy who saves the world by pushing nuclear power. But no, he has to appeal to the masses, he has to appeal to auto workers, so instead we get drill baby drill. Same thing with the Israel stuff. Most intelligent conservatives have at least a bit of nuance about Israel. Lots of right-wing scholars are anti-Israel. But the unwashed masses think Israel is God's chosen people, and they're fighting Muslims. We have to support Israel so that Jesus can send the rapture. Again, the reason Trump is so pro-Israel and drill baby drill is because he's trying to get votes from largely uneducated, low IQ medium voters. He's not actually that pro-Israel. He hates Netanyahu and he's criticized the war in Gaza. But he has to put on the whole Israel is God's people facade to get votes. He's not actually that pro-fossil fuels. He's talked about nuclear power before. He's an entrepreneur. He loves that futuristic stuff. But at the rally, all he yapped about was drill baby drill, screw the environment, we like oil. China bad, am I right? It was not my cup of tea. Also, what is with the Secret Service blocking off roads? When we were trying to leave, we had to turn around like 6 times. Every highway was blocked by cops. This is one of the weirdest privileges, is that politicians just get to close entire interstates when they feel like holding a rally. It was super late, we're all hungry, and the darn roads were blocked by the Schutzstaffel.
No! They have to block the roads to keep him safe!
Hold on, I'm getting there. Trust the plan. I'm making a point with this.
I mean, they had the whole interstate blocked. We were passing row after row after row of cars at a complete standstill. They were trapped. There was nowhere for them to turn around. They were probably stuck there for hours. And I just thought, imagine being some blue-collar Democrat, some old black man who works at a car wash or something. You're driving home from a 10-hour shift and you get stuck in traffic because of Donald Trump. By the time you get back, you don't even get to see your family. You just have to sleep because in 5 hours you go back to work. Why does this happen? Why do politicians have to fly around the country blocking off interstates and closing down entire towns to give cute little speeches in basketball stadiums? That's right, it's because of democracy. I don't think people understand just how much money goes into campaigns. Printing all the flyers and bumper stickers flying around the country, not to mention the indirect cost. Every single highway shut down by the presidential motorcade means hundreds of people who are stuck in traffic, who have to go the long way round and are late for work. For Trump to win, he has to appeal to the lowest common denominator. He has to fly around doing rallies. He has to appeal to the Walmart voters. And Walmart voters don't care about nuclear power and public transportation and zoning laws. They just care about cheap groceries. Look, I believe a politician should be popular, but he shouldn't be a populist. Part of a king's duty is to shake hands and kiss babies. This is good, this is right. He should visit small towns and eat lunch at the Greasy Spoon and get ice cream in the park and wave to the crowds. He should be loved by his people. But he shouldn't sink to their level, and he certainly shouldn't base his policies on their opinions. He should be a statesman, dignified and sophisticated. He should be a scholar. He should be up to date on the studies. He should set an example for his people of classy, intelligent dignity. These are exciting times. The channel is growing. People are waking up. The masses are becoming Arthur Greenwood pilled. But we still have a long way to go. My last channel was demonetized, and they might do the exact same thing to this one. So, if you like what I do and you want to help me out, if you want to help my channel grow, there are 4 things you can do. 1. Leave a comment. Just say anything, literally anything, and that will be a huge help for the algorithm. 2. Send the video to a friend. I know you have some normie friend who needs to hear this. 4, most importantly, consider joining my Patreon. You'll get access to the Arthur Greenwood archive, where you can watch my really controversial videos that I can't put on YouTube, including my really old videos from when I was like a democratic Voshite socialist. There's even the hour-long debate I had about anarcho-capitalism. You'll also get to join our members-only Discord server, where you can talk with me and the boys about life and politics and history. It's a great time. We have weekly phone calls, and I have genuinely become really good friends with some of the guys in the server. Because we have to stick together, you know? It's rough out there. We need networks of highly disciplined, highly intelligent men. If you want to join my network, all it costs is $1 a month. That adds up to $12 a year, which is nothing. That's less than an hour of work. And in exchange, you get to be my friend forever.